I listened to Vultures 2, so you don't have to. This is, of course, the sequel album to the first Vultures 1. And initially, although I did like Vultures 1, I realized that things started to fade off pretty quickly. It seems pretty clear to me that after the first week of the album being out, the hype kind of died down and people didn't like it as much. Well, there was a lot of speculation of if the sequel would even actually ever come out. While in true Kanye fashion, it came out at the most random time today. The album is over 50 minutes with 15 songs, and I honestly feel a bit mixed about it. The whole Vultures project to me has this very distinct sound that just feels a little soulless. It's kind of like the equivalent of the Justice League. They have the budget and they have the fire roster, but something is just off about the production. A lot of the vocal mixes come off as weirdly robotic, and I think something that this album definitely lacks is dynamics. There are songs on this project that kind of sound like copy paste of other tracks, for example, River. Specifically, when I heard this song, I just didn't really feel like there were any new ideas coming to the table. It's pretty much unavoidable that there are going to be some skips in your album. But let's talk about some of the highlights, because there are definitely highlights on the project. Field Trip has to be the hardest song on the entire album. I really dig the parts from Playboi Carti on this track, but the beat on this song is also just super fire. I think Kanye pulls up with one of his best verses on the album here too, and with the unexpected Kodak Black feature as well, which I thought was nice. Another track that's a personal favorite to me is 530. Now, I had already heard leaks of this song over a year ago, and I think I was a little disappointed that it's basically the same song. Especially at the end segment, I was kind of hoping that he would fill in some of those missing words. But to play devil's advocate, I also kind of get it. The song is so raw and unfiltered, I don't know if it needs words. There's enough genuine emotion to the lyrics that are there, so maybe he just felt like he couldn't really top that energy. I thought near the end of the project, Sky City was another great song. This one in particular is way different than any of the other tracks. It's a bright, summery, more pop-driven track with a guitar, and I really wish that this came earlier in the track list, because when it hits, it's so unexpected and refreshing. They definitely could have used this as more of a halftime breakup of the constant vibe that's going throughout. I think Kanye also delivers a pretty genuine verse here, and that's the thing about this project. I feel like when they make something that feels a little different from the other tracks, they really stand out nicely, but it's the other times it feels so static and robotic that kind of lose me. I'm trying not to hate too bad, but Bomb by North and Chicago West is kind of a terrible song. But to be fair, I am a white kid living in Japan who went to Japanese language school, so I just kind of cringe whenever I hear basic Japanese in an entire song. But I am being consistent, to be fair. I said the same thing about Megan Thee Stallion's song. But Vultures 2 is very interesting because there are so many ideas that really should be working. I think there are a lot of real sweet melodies and production throughout the project. Tracks like Slide or Time Moving Slow are pretty easy listens, but there are other songs on here like Husband that I just kind of felt like were pure cringe. And it was kind of strange because they went from Husband to Lifestyle and then they closed with Husband again. And I felt like I really didn't need to hear that one twice. And I also thought the mix on My Soul was kind of strange because it's basically just in your left ear. The best way I can describe this album ending is kind of like a sparkler when it's finished and it just kind of dims out. Maybe it's because it's the second album in the series, but you don't really feel like you get a conclusion. You just kind of end on mid. Despite Kanye's very, very controversial reputation, I still wanted to just take a look at the art and tell you what I thought of the music transparently. And something I realized when listening to this album is it just feels like Kanye doesn't have anything left in the tank. There are basically no new ideas on this or the last project, and it truly does feel like we've heard his best bars and best production at this point. I think the most exciting part about getting a new album is you get to hear an artist's journey and how they've grown since the last one. But I feel like with each project that comes out, it just kind of gets worse and worse. Donda also didn't really have me hooked like some of those other albums like Life of Pablo. In newer generations of artists, we're hearing more ambitious things, and I don't know, this one just kind of bored me. But go listen to that album and tell me what you think. Most of the people that get recommended these videos aren't subscribed to the channel, so if you enjoyed, hit the button, and yeah, peace out.